It's fine, David.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready when you are.
Okay. Can I see an audience, please, or something? Because right now it's a black. Is there any way I could see the audience or somebody's face?
Yes. Yes.
Hi, do you have a link that you can send?
Hi, are you on it?
Mostly sent it on our group.
Here, Brach, I sent it to you.
Can you see us now?
No. Now I can. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Okay. Am I? Hello. It's on mute, right?
I'm gonna mute myself just so that you don't hear us, or we'll just, you know what, we'll leave it unmuted. We're not saying anything anyways.
Should I begin? And
Yes.
should I begin? But I need to
Yes.
see. I need to see a face, something, because otherwise it's a black box, and it feels so weird to just talk to nothing. So I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't mind the noise on in the background because it gives me some activity. It makes me feel like it's live. Otherwise, I'm talking to the air. Like dream.
Are you sure that you see gallery view, because we do have a girl with a camera?
No, I don't. Where is the gallery view? And it would be good if I could get it.
Yeah, we have.
Where is the gallery view? I can't see it here because I don't see anything or anyone. Show names, no. Hide video, hide, epitomize. Where does it say? I don't see the word gallery view anywhere.
This is Leader here. I'll send you a picture, okay?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I see a picture, but where's gallery here? I see the video and the picture. Yeah, it looks good. I could put, hello? Where is the gallery? Where's the gallery view on my screen?
Okay. Do you see the little box where you see yourself? Do you see yourself?
I don't see that box. I only see a box that says Madrichot Seminary. That's all.
Okay. So where it says Madrichot Seminary, there should be a little icons on top. In the picture that I sent you, you could see it.
Ask to start video. Is that it?
I'm sorry?
Does it
Turn this to
start video?
She should have a little thing there that she
There you are. I see you now. Okay, you're there now.
Is she gonna see it?
Okay, so I see your face. That's good. I see your face. That's good.
Okay, great.
So
We do have Mrs. Leader. If you press on the on top of the little box where you see my face, there's a little. I sent you a picture also on WhatsApp. There's a little icon on top with like two bars on top of each other. You can see everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. I got it. I didn't know that. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so now I could just, do you see what I see now? Are you seeing all of this, like 3 boxes? Is it?
Yes, we see 3 boxes and we see your screen. We see everything.
So I'm gonna move it up so it doesn't block. I'll move it up so it doesn't block everything because I have the writing there and I don't hear. Okay, that's fine. We're good now. Should we begin?
Yay.
Okay.
We are ready. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, there we are. I see the audience. Hi, everyone. So hi. Wonderful, wonderful to see where my 2 daughters have studied. I never saw their hall or the classroom, so it's wonderful. So I am sitting here in Melbourne, Australia at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it is a wonderful feeling to be able to be here for you girls. I was gonna do anything, wake up early in order to have the privilege and honor of doing this because it is my passion. You ever get woken up for something that you're so passionate about that you feel like, I'll do anything, wake me up in the middle of the night, no problem. Ice cream, pizza, I'm there. Anyway. So this is my ice cream and pizza, is talking to seminary girls. And if I can make a difference to even one person, it would be worth it all. So I'm going to start now. Is everything good, Monsieur? Everything? Yeah, we're good?
Yes, yes, thank you.
You let me know if we need any adjustments, okay? Okay.
Okay, great.
And Monsieur, is it recording on your end?
Yes, no, we will do that, yeah.
In case it doesn't work on my end, okay? I'm not sure that I actually got it recording, but you know, so it's a good, if you could do that, that'll be great. Okay, thank you. So I shall begin now. I have prepared the best, the creme de la creme, the best of my tips of ideas that I have gathered together in the last 24 hours of everything in a very practical way, practical tools to prepare young girls 18 years old that haven't started yet the whole dating scene. I gathered my notes and I read and I checked and I looked and I prepared for you, which is going to come up now as I share the screen, tips and ideas of the best of everything that I have learned over the last 40 years. I once went to a speaker and he said to us in front of an audience of like 3,000 people, he said, I want you to know that for the last 30 years, I've been doing research on all these topics and I'm gonna deliver it to you now in the next hour. Like you're getting all the meat, all the material, all the experience that I have been through in the last 40 years doing Shidduchim, raising 14 children. I've married off 13 of my children, Baruch Hashem. So that's going through 13 kids under the chuppah, you know, finding the Shidduch, checking out the profiles, making sure I'm doing the right thing, being responsible, getting the right one for the right kid. And so today I find myself in Melbourne, Australia, spending all my time in the empty house because everyone's married and helping other people with Shidduchim. So Musya, I didn't even get to ask you, were you here in Melbourne or how did you know that I do this? I didn't even ask you, but we'll get to that later. Whatever it is, I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to share with you the keys to happy dating, the keys to successful, stress-free Shidduch, everything to do with Shidduch. And of course, since he brought with you a pen and a paper, as I speak, I'd be very happy for you to jot down little words, questions, notes, and then later we'll try, Musya, if we can after the hour, to get people to share what it is that they're thinking or questioning if your questions weren't answered throughout the hour. I even have a list of typical popular questions that most singles ask. So we're going to go through that as well. So let's begin. Okay, are we ready? Can I hear a yes? Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, great. Excellent, thank you. I love the audience already. Okay, here we go. Practical tips for dating. And I even got your name on the top of my booklet. Okay, later on you're welcome to, we could organize a copy of everything here, I'm sure. I'm gonna send it off to Musya and she could make a copy of everything that we're gonna learn today. So there's a way we could do that. So if you want a copy of all the notes that we're gonna talk about today, it's right here and I'll send it off to you. So practical tips for dating, here we go. I created this year, after 40 years working on Shidduchim, I must have made about 200 Shidduchim by now. I've created something called Shidduch Academy. And that is to train other people that are already involved in Shidduchim or want to be involved, how to be a dating coach, how to be a shadchan, and how to be a dating coach. So I've opened up this school called Shidduch Academy online. And so that is the name of my school. And it's everything to do with Shidduchim. I take all my years of experience and I'm gonna teach it now to others to train them. So, number one, why did I become a shadchan dating coach? The answer is simple. Because I've been working with singles for all these years, I realized that there were 4 main issues. You wouldn't even relate to because you don't even know, you didn't even begin. But it doesn't hurt for you to hear it. So at least you're prepared for when you get into that parsha, right? So one of the 4 things these are the challenges singles are facing today. Perfection. All singles, what I found, at least in my experience, are looking for the perfect person. Why not? And the mother of these singles is also looking for the perfect person for their child. And so they, he might be this or this or this or this, but he's not 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got this, but he doesn't. So forget it. Show me another profile, please, Mrs. Leader. I'll take another profile. Come on, you have more. And it's like a disposable generation where okay, this one's not, we're talking about people. And next, give me another one. No, I don't like the length of his beard. It's not going to suit her. Oh, she doesn't want so short, so long, so tall. Everything, they're so picky. And so how do we do it in a way that we could, Baruch Hashem, succeed within the first year or 2, rather than chas v'shalom singles becoming 28, 32, and 38. This is what we want to avoid, getting older and older. And all of us know someone that has been dating for about 10 years and it's still not happening. And we all wonder why. Such a wonderful girl. Why is it taking her so long? That's my goal, to teach you girls the tips and little secrets, how it could happen for you within the first year or 2 of dating, and you don't have to wait 10 years. So number 1 challenge I found is perfection. Everybody that I speak to starts off with the perfect list. He must be this. And they go on and on. Perfection, that is the first stumbling block, because there's no such thing as perfection. Nobody has it all. So I'll tell you my answer to that. We'll come to that in a minute. So I'm going to first discuss the 4 main issues, challenges that we're facing today. And if you're aware of it, you'll say, oh, okay, so I'll stay away from that because Mrs. Leader said that's not going to work for me. So unrealistic list of high expectations. That's challenge number 1. Let's go to challenge number 2. They keep getting set up with the wrong people, unsuitable candidates. They keep, oh, why don't you try my neighbor? He's a real nice guy. I had him for Shabbos. He's so kind. Go ahead, you'll like him. Try, what's a date? Come on, go out on a date. And they go out and it's so off. So people keep getting set up with the wrong people. That's challenge number 2. Let's keep going. What's number 3? The people that I interview, because I'm a dating coach, so I only work with people that I actually interview. A lot of the singles say to me, Mrs. Leader, I don't really know what's important, what I really need. Can you help me figure it out? They call me because I'm not just a shadchan, I'm also a dating coach. There are a few around in the world, a few people. I'm one amongst maybe a handful, amongst all of us Lubavitchers. And I've perfected the skill in being a dating coach by working with people. And what I do is I interview people. I make a 2-hour interview, which I'll discuss in a minute, to dig really deep into your brain and challenge you, to help you think, which we're going to do now a little bit, to help you think, what do you really need? What do you really want in a spouse? What's really important? And what you're okay to let go. What's okay? You know what? I could compromise that. I don't must have it. It's okay. So you know what? I'll find someone else to do that, whatever it is. We help you think what's super important. I call it absolute. What do you absolutely must have? And what can you let go? We'll do a little bit of that soon. I'm actually going to show you what I have right here for 1 second, because I don't want you to see all the names. There's a whiteboard with all the people that I've interviewed, and it's color coordinated. So I'm going to turn it around and show you what I'm talking about. Have a look. And so, okay, I don't want you to study it, but I have this whiteboard, and this whiteboard has every single person. There's about 260 people up there. It's in a section of color according to who they are, what they're looking for, and their age, their name, a picture, what they're doing, and their height. And it helps me within a glance, when somebody says, oh, so do you have somebody for my daughter? She's 23, within a second, I have it all up in front of me.
Hi, Mrs. Leader.
What happened?
We got cut off for a minute.
Oh.
We're trying to get back on.
Okay.
Oh, here we are.
So, tell me what's the last thing that you heard?
Sorry about that. We just got kicked off of Zoom. Last thing we heard was you have a 2-hour interview with people who you set up.
Okay, so I was showing you, and I forgot, I didn't realize you didn't see this. This is a whiteboard with all the people that I interviewed. Of course, I don't want to keep it long so you don't study it, but there are 2 sides to it, and I'm just going to show you an idea. So it's a whiteboard with all the people that I interview. Are we there? Is that good? We could see it all. Everyone that I interview, I put up on the wall, and I take this very, very serious, because within a glance, I could see instantly who is on the chart in which color, because it's all color coordinated, the age, all the boys here, all the girls here, and within seconds, I work with this. Now, why I'm telling you all this is because as a dating coach, as I explained to you, I interview people. That's just me, only work with people that I actually get to know extremely well. So together we work out what they actually want and need. So what I was saying in number 3, a lot of people, a lot of singles that I interview say to me, I'm not sure what I really want. Can you help me with this, Mrs. Leader? And together for 2 hours, we work out their list. And I'll come to the list in a minute, and we'll do something together as well. Okay, number 4, the 4th reason why we're struggling with Shidduchim, and one of the biggest challenges is people are getting drained and burnt out and tired of dating because they keep getting set up with their own people. They have these unrealistic expectations, and they think they're going to get Mr. Perfect, and they keep thinking the next one will have it all. So I want to help you girls realize there is no such thing as perfection. Nobody has all of it. So if we're going to get something, let's at least get the most important core foundational values that a person needs for life, for a life partner. So I'm going to teach you how to get that. Okay, we're going to go through that now. So I'm going to go quickly through the benefits of a dating coach so I could explain you why and how it can help you in life. And then I'm going to tell you, empty my brain and give it all to you, everything that I learned along the way of becoming this dating coach. Here it goes. So the benefits of a dating coach is that you gain clarity, you gain the confidence, and a lot of people discover who they are. You know how many people said to me after a coaching session, they go, wow, I didn't know that it's so important for me that he has a full beard and he davens with the minyan 3 times a day. Only after we discussed it do I realize that I really need that. Because I challenge them. I say, what's if he doesn't daven with the minyan 3 times a day? What's if he only davens in the morning? Will you not date him?
I'm so sorry.
What happened?
Mr. Leader, I'm so sorry. We don't hear you anymore. I'm sorry. Do we? Here. Oh, now we hear you. Now we hear you. Okay. Last we heard was about self-discovery.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll try to make sure it doesn't happen again.
It's okay. So what I do is pick your brain when I'm doing this as a dating coach to help you realize what you really need. A lot of people don't know. They say, I don't know what's important. Tell me what's important. So we go through it, and through asking questions, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Okay, here we go. These are the benefits of having someone work with you in a shidduch. I sometimes do a shidduch where I'm working with the boy, the bacher, but he says to me, the girl has nobody to talk to. She's doing this on her own. She's from out of town. She could hardly get through to her mother. Mrs. Leader, can you talk to her too? Because I'm coaching him along the way. And there's so many questions that can come up, like, and I'll go through them in a minute. Like, yeah, it sounds really good on paper, but I don't have the feeling. What do I do? Do I continue? Stuff like that. Instead of just sitting with the questions or quitting the shidduch, there are answers. There are things we could do about it, which is when a coach can come in handy. So the first thing I'm going to say, the benefit of a dating coach is that it's personalized. It's made exact. I get to know you personally. It's not like I take a profile off the shelf, which a lot of shadchanim, I used to do that 2 years ago. I say, oh, I just got this profile. Maybe it'll be perfect for your daughter. Like, I don't even know who they are. They're just papers with a name, with a picture. And so a dating coach, like what I do, is actually get to know the people I work with. I showed you, I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the whiteboard, or it didn't work? Did whatever. You'll tell me. Oh, you saw it. Okay. So it's personalized, and I know every single person on that board, 260 people. Number two, we're going to get to the real deal in a minute. I'm just giving an introduction, where I'm coming from, who I am, what I do, and then we'll get into it, okay? So a dating coach prevents the burnout, like I explained earlier. The goal of seeing a dating coach is that you explore together and discover what your 5. I allow people to have 5, and this is what I'm going to teach you today. 5 deal breakers, I call it, non-negotiables. So when I'd love to sit with you girls, you brought a pen and paper. I'd love to do with you a little bit of what I do in the interview, because it'll help you think. It'll get you started, okay? Get you started in thinking. You don't have to think more than today. You know, forget about it, put it away. And when it's time to think about Shidduchim, you can bring out the paper again. But this is what I do, and I'll show you in a minute. I'll just go through this and I'll show you in a minute. We're going to do a little practice ourselves, okay? So I suggest, now that I got to know you for 2 hours, I suggest candidates, possible candidates, according and as close as possible to what you need. Because I know you. You're like my kid now. I got to know you really well, and I got a guy that also wants similar 5 things that you're looking for. Let's go. And that's how I do Shidduchim. It's not just a random paper I pull out, but many of those stories happen to me too, which I shared on COL. If you ever want to, in the search button, put my name in Toby Leader in COL, and you'll get like 3 times I sent like 5 or 10 stories of hashgacha practice where it wasn't even people that I interviewed. I walk into a room and I go, oh, maybe this one for that. So there is the hashgacha practice that the Eibishter, Hashem looks down and Hashem says, who is doing Shidduchim for me? I need people to carry out, this couple has to get engaged. And he sees me sitting at the computer, and Hashem says, okay, Toby Lead, I'm going to give you an idea. And all of a sudden, an idea pops into my head. Honestly, really, really, Hashem is a partner with me in this whole journey. And I see it like a doctor in an operating room. Like miracles. I see miracles. Every single shidduch is a miracle. It comes from so left field. Sometimes it's unbelievable. I get a shidduch once on, it was an email that the computer decided that this couple matched, like an algorithm from Chabad Match or something. They sent it to me, said, here, we think this is a good match. The computer thinks it's a good match. These are one of the Eibishter stories. And I go, oh, they're asking me because the girl's from Sydney, I might know her. So what do? I send the whole email over to the girl's mother. I said, look, the computer thinks this could be a good match. I didn't interview the girl. I didn't interview the boy. But they sent it to me, and I believe everything that happens, hashgacha pratis. We got to pick up the cues. The mother said, yeah, my husband knows the boy from the father. He went to school with him. Give it a shot. Ask them. They were in Canada. The girl was in Sydney. The Chabad Match had this system, this a few years ago, where they put all the profiles through an algorithm of some sort, and whatever came out, they sent it off to Shadchanim and said, the computer thinks this could be a good match. Anyway, long story short, they both agreed to go out. They were both in Israel, and they're married with 2 children now. It's unbelievable. The Abish just says, time for this couple, who's working on it, and then I don't know, I'm so lucky and so privileged. Eibishter uses me to help make Shidduchim. Next, let's go to another advantage of having a dating coach, so you don't get random names and waste a lot of emotional energy. I don't know if you will have sisters or aunts or relatives, neighbors, friends that you know that are 28, 32, so much older girls today, hanging around, trying, everyone's trying for them, and skeitnish, it's not happening. I'm not a judge. I'm not going to tell you why they're getting older and older. I don't know. But what I do know is if we try our hardest to catch it now when you're 18, 19, 20, with the right seichel of what I'm going to teach you today, it's possible that you could have it within months, a year or two, and you don't have to go through 10 years of emotionally drained or burnt out. It's so sad. I have such a soft spot for older singles. Here it goes. Number 5. I represent you. If you choose a shadchan that's also a dating coach, I will be like your lawyer. I will advocate for you. I will represent you in the best possible light, like a lawyer in a courtroom. When I call someone, I go, and I focus on everything that you're good at. Why not? Everybody deserves a chance. So the best thing, instead of just like a shotgun says, here's a nice idea, you check it out. I actually advocate for you. Like, come on, but she's good at this and good at this and good at, and the Eibishter gives the right words. Once you're real and genuine, it works. Here it goes. Number 6, I have a database, and you now join the database by filling out a Google form and pressing send. You're on my database. So what do? Every 2 weeks, what I'm saying now is a little introduction of what I do, but you could do this with any shadchan. You say to them, can I send you a message every 2 weeks? Just one word. Available or busy. And I network with other shadchanim. So here it goes. Every 2 weeks, I ask everyone that I work with to send me a WhatsApp reminder, one word, till the day you're engaged. The one word is either available or busy. Busy means you're dating. If you are dating, let me know so I won't consider you for other people. So if you're available, I stop. I look at my whiteboard and I go, wow, okay, who do I have for Chani? And I see who did I interview in the last 2 weeks that might be suitable for you. So every 2 weeks you send that. So I'm telling you now, girls, ask your shadchan, whoever is working with you, can I just send you a reminder, or your mother? I had a shidduch where a mother of a boy and a girl were sending me the reminder, the word available, every 2 weeks on a Thursday afternoon. And I go, oh my gosh, I think they're a good team. And so I asked them if I could exchange profiles. I did, and they're happily married today. Just because they were both reminding me at the same time, but it made me look at their profiles. It reminded me, I can't possibly chase 260 people, but if everyone sends me the word available, I could look for you for 10 minutes. Sure, I'm sitting in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm thinking about you in wherever you live in Cleveland, you know? Okay, so number 9, we are going to, and I'm going to teach you, I'm going to go through the exercise with you in about a minute, how we come up and downsize our unrealistic list of perfect person. We all want the perfect, and come up with 5. The 5 has been so successful. Every one of the 260 people I interview have said to me by the end of the interview, wow, if I get this, I'd be so lucky. So nobody's asked for more. So 5 is reasonable, it's realistic, and I'm going to teach you now how to do that, okay? Number 10, coaching. What I do, I include free coaching. So anyone that gets interviewed with me, till they're engaged, even if they're engaged, they can call me, contact me, or voice note me and say, Mrs. Leader, I'm so stuck. He's got 4 out of the 5, and I like him a lot, but I don't see 5, and it's a question, whatever. When you're stuck, you can call me anytime. It doesn't cost. Okay, here it goes. These are tips that will help you in your future. Always keep the shadchan in the loop. What does that mean? Sometimes you don't know yet because you didn't start, but just remember, if you can, sometimes when it's going well, like 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, the two singles say to each other, you know what, we could take this over on our own. We don't need the shadchan anymore. We're good, right? We're good to go. And they start arranging their own further dates. A lot of times it causes a lot of problems like miscommunication, but he didn't call, but he said, and then we arranged, and then where was he? Why didn't he? I say, never leave go of the shadchan. Always keep the shadchan in the loop. It will help you till the day you're engaged, because you need a third party to see what's going on between the two of you, to help deliver the messages, to help clear things. It's very important. So that is a message, a very important message. Keep the shadchan in the loop. Don't let it go. This is just my opinion. I've seen where they let the shadchan go and things fell apart. Here go typical questions. I compiled the most popular typical questions that you may have or come across in the future. I hope you'll remember it. That's why I'm happy to share all of this with you after. Take it home, and when you're back home and it's time for Shidduchim, you're able to open it up and look at it again. Okay, here it goes. Typical questions. How do I know if I'm being told the truth? Good question. I get this a lot. How do I know when I'm dating and I want to know if one of my most important things are, let's say, honesty? How do I know that he's honest? How do I know? I'm not going to ask him, are you honest? Good question. I'd love if the audience could give me some ideas where you can say, but it's going to complicate things, right? I'd love to ask you, if I was in a classroom, I'd say, what do you think is the best way to get to know, to feel safe and secure that he's actually telling you the truth? So I'm going to tell you a few answers. One, are we okay, Miss Sia? You can all hear me? It's good? We're good? Just say
yes. We are doing great. We are doing great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just have to check in case I got to do it all over again. Okay. So how do I know if I'm being told the truth? Okay. Here is going to be the answer. You don't understand, so don't bother reading the words. But later, when you read it, you'll remember what I said. Here it goes. I'm going to give you an example of integrity. Let's say one of your values is integrity. I need somebody honest, someone genuine, someone trustworthy, someone transparent, someone that I could lean on, someone that will have my back, someone that's loyal, dedicated, authentic, real, straight shooter. I need honest. Let's say honest is your thing. How do you check out honesty? How? You'll say to him on a date, so are you an honest person? Of course I'm honest. What are you talking about? How do you check out if a guy is honest? So there's a few answers. This is if you walk away with just this tip, it will be worth the whole hour. Because you use this tip for everything else that you need to find out, not just honesty. I'll use honesty as an example, but use this, what I'm about to tell you, for everything you need to find out about a guy. Let's say he likes you a lot. You're not sure, you're still checking him out. So you're gonna ask a lot of questions and he'll say, yeah, sure. Yeah, you want to open home? Sure, I wanna open. He'll go along with everything if he really wants to. How do you know he's telling you the truth? And then later, chas v'shalom, whatever. So how do you know that he's actually how do you get real answers? That's my question. Here goes the answer. I'm going to use honesty and integrity as an example. Like I said before, use the method for everything else you need to check out a guy. Instead of asking directly the question, you talk about what it means to you. Sounds really simple. Let me give you an example. So you want to check out his honesty. You say to him, so let me tell you a story in the middle of dating, just right in the middle, somewhere in the middle of dating, you go, I want to share with you a story that happened. In your head, you organized this story. This is your test to see if he's honest, okay? It's not a by the way story. You organized it. You thought about it. You say to him, I was coming out of Macy's with my sister, with my friend. I was coming out of Macy's. And we're half hour out of Macy's in the bus. And all of a sudden, my friend that I went shopping with says to me, oh my gosh, look what happened. I can't believe it. It's my lucky day. They forgot to charge me for the shoes, $200 pair of shoes. Now, as you're telling the story to your date, as you're telling it, look at him the entire time and check out his body language, check out his reaction, check out his first reaction, not the one after he had a chance to think about it, his facial expression, his everything about the way he's reacting to the story. He'll have either of two reactions. So you continue the story and you go, and my friend said, oh my gosh, it was like winning a lottery, $200 pair of shoes, I got away with it. It's not my fault, I didn't do anything. I just put everything on the counter. They forgot to charge me for the shoes. I'm so excited. As you're telling the story, watch his face, listen to his words. He's gonna say either of two things. He's gonna say, I'm not comfortable with that. I would need to go right back to the store, even if it's a half hour away, and just like either get rid of it, like put it down on the counter and pay for it, or return it. But I couldn't wear it if I didn't pay for it. That will be one possible reaction. The other possible reaction would be something like, oh, come on, you know how many times it happened to me? And besides Macy's, the Goyim, you know, it's okay. According to halacha, you don't have to go back. You'll get the answer where he's holding by integrity and honesty by his reaction to your story. Don't ever ask directly a question, but tell a story about something that's important to you. You'll get the answer by his reaction. Get it? So that you could use for everything. I'll give you another example. Let's say having a very big open home Shabbos table with lots of guests, and like, let's say your vision, your biggest dream is that people could come into your home, open the fridge and say, what's there to eat? I'm so hungry. Maybe that's your vision, that's your dream, maybe. You want this open home, people comfortable, Shabbos 30 people, 20 people, whatever. It's the highlight of your life. Now, you want to check that out with the guy you're dating. You don't want him to be the kind of guy that says, I don't know, once in a month we'll entertain, but the other, you need to check it out. How are you going to get an honest answer? How? If he likes you a lot, he might just go along with your story. Yeah, open home, sure, you say whatever you want, you know, how do you know he's telling you the truth? So what you do is talk about what it means to you. In the middle of dating, you say, by the way, I was brought up in a home where people were so comfortable to just walk into my house, like almost like a free for all. Like that's the kind of home I had. And I want that for my family. I want to see a large family with lots of kids and guests, and, you know, they could feel comfortable to lay down on the couch, and, you know, a Shabbos table. It's the highlight of, you just talk about your value. What's important to you? Watch the way it bounces off of him. He's going to give you either of two ways to answer. He'll say, oh my gosh, that's my dream. I didn't know somebody else thinks like me. I want da 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 da. And he goes on and builds bigger than you. You know you're onto a good thing. All about his reaction. So that's one method I'm teaching you. Never ask directly, so do you like to have an open home? It's got to be a whole story of what it means to you. Okay, let me continue. I think you got it. Okay, so there it goes. Integrity as an example, body language, and what's the first thing that he reacts? That's what you're looking out for. Okay, so far so good? Yeah, let's keep going. Number 2, these are questions that people ask. Do I must go on a second date no matter what? Because that is a thing, by the way. A lot of shadchanim, even your mother, will say, I know the first date, you know, you must go on a second date. So I'm asking the question here, is that a must? Is that so important? And I'll tell you the answer. And the answer is 100% give it a second shot. Because we, mothers, shadchanim, call the first date. Are we there? Because it went blank. Are we good? Is it good? Just keep me up to date once in a while to say, yes, we're still good.
Yes. Yeah, we're good. Just the camera fell down for a second. We're good.
Okay.
We're listening.
Okay. So, yes, always consider a second date, because we call the first date the awkward first date. It's something we got to get over. We got to get past. The first date is never going to be, wow. It's never going to be, oh my gosh. Maybe 1% out of 100 will be, oh my gosh, but not. Most 99% of people come back from the first date, they go, I don't know. It's confusing, it's hard. Maybe, I'm not sure. I say 100% go for a second date, because you already broke the first date awkwardness, and now it's time to start the first date officially. So yes, go for a second date. That's my answer from experience. Okay, next question. Okay, what's if, oh, this is part of that answer about going on the second date. I said, I didn't tell you this. I always ask people after the first date, is there a little spark? Do you 100% not want to go out again? Sometimes they come back and they say, Mrs. Leader, not for me. And I always ask this question, 100% or 98%? Is there a tiny little flicker, a spark? And a lot of times, I'd say almost all the time, I get an answer, 98%. I go, if there's a little percent left and it's not 100%, don't punish me. Don't make me go out with him again. Very rarely I get something like, don't let me go out. If there's a tiny flicker, I encourage everybody to do the second date. And I say, what have you got to lose? It's only a date at the end, you know. And let me tell you something. I've been witness, I said earlier, to miracles, like a doctor in the operation room. I've been witness to miracles where after the first date, I actually wrote an article in COL 2 weeks ago, on Friday it came out, of a story, a real story, where the girl after the first date said, oh, get him out of my face. He's not for me. Oh, I don't want to see him ever again. He was totally in tune to everything intellectual. Like he was so into analyzing everything rather than tuning into her emotion and feeling. And she was a very emotional person. I said to him that night after the first date, and she wanted to get rid of him, I said to him, would you like to know what one of her deal breakers were? The most important one? And he goes, yeah. I said, you know what? For her, EI, emotional intelligence, is everything. If you could tune into her emotions, because I know you're very smart and you were impressing her as being very, but that's not what she's looking for. She needs someone that gets her, that feels her. If you could try to start focusing on her emotions, then maybe we'll get somewhere, maybe. So they go out on a second date and everything changed. They're married today. Everything changed. It's crazy how much is in the hands of a shadchan date/dating coach to coach the singles through. It's not just we are this middleman that says, okay, here's a profile, go, fly with it. If you have a shadchan that's also a coach, specializes in helping maneuver and navigate the shidduch along the way, wow. Because I've seen, oh my gosh, so many times where it could have just fallen through the cracks. And with a little bit of navigating, like what I did with this one, the whole thing changed. And she met her basher. She doesn't have to go till 30 and meet the guy from 10 years ago to get. So very important, very, very important is to give it a second shot. And hopefully choose a shadchan that knows how to pull you through a shidduch. Okay, here we go. Next question. Very big question. I get this all the time. It's so common. Everything is good on paper, but I don't have the hamshachas halev. I don't have the feelings that I think I'm supposed to have. By the goyim, in the secular world, everything is about the attraction, the feelings, and then one day they say, hey, so do our values match up? Unfortunately, in the frum world, I'm talking about frum, Hasidish, Lubavitch, the works, says to me, a bacher, I like to go out on a date where I get to know the person as a person. I need to see if we get along. I'm talking about a frum, black and white, Hasidish bacher, okay? I need to see if we get along. After I see, after 5 or 10 times that we click, we get along, then we'll discuss all the important stuff. I need to see as a person if I could be best friends with this person. I tried everything under the sun to convince him otherwise. I said, you could be wasting 10 dates, emotional energy, time, money, everything, and finding out later that the values don't match up. And he said, nope, this is what I do. So he wouldn't listen to me. He goes out with this girl, and they really clicked. They got along well. He took on magnificent dates, and they clicked, and everything they spoke about was happy-go-lucky. It comes to date number 10. This is a true story. And he says, Mrs. Lita, I'm now ready for the serious stuff. I'm ready. She's such a wonderful person. We get along, a house on fire. He starts talking to her. They start with the chinuch of the children. And she goes, I'd rather a more modern type of school, not the typical whatever, Lubavitch Yeshiva Litara, like a little bit more whatever. And he goes, what? And then she talks about, well, I want a kind of guy that will go to the movies sometime. He goes, what? Yeah, I think it's important the kids should have movies in the house. They don't go to their neighbors. And they start talking about values that one should have spoken about all the ways in the beginning to decipher if they're a match or not. But at the end, after 10 dates, which is about, 60 hours worth? 60 hours of finding out they get along, but their values absolutely mismatched. He says to me at the end, she was way too modern for me. I go, what? You didn't know any of that until now? And he says, well, we didn't talk the serious stuff until the end. This is exactly the shita of the non-Jewish world, the secular world, where we need to see if we click, if there's an attraction, a chemistry, if we get along with each other. I fell in love. And then everything dies out because they did it backwards. Later on, values, I don't know. And then you wonder why there's so many broken marriages 6 months down the track. I'm telling you, as a shadchan, too many times I've seen those broken marriages. I'm not saying all, it's not a rule, but a lot of those broken marriages, like after 6 weeks, after 2 months, after a year, young kids, they were in love. Why are they divorcing? Why? What's going on? I feel, it's just my opinion, don't quote me, it's just my experience, that they never laid down the foundation. They never spoke about what's really important. They were in la la land, like the Goyim, fell in love, met over a Shabbos table, or their friend recommended go out with this guy, and they did no checks, no research, no nothing. And they fly, in love, la la land. They settle down after marriage, and then the real stuff comes out that they never spoke about. And those things are breaking up marriages because they get the shock of their life. They never spoke the real stuff. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. How important it is to lay down the core foundations, the most important values and qualities and midos and everything that you need in a spouse. How to do that in the beginning, not leave it for later. That's when the disaster strikes, when we put all the important stuff for later. Let's continue because the answers will be there as I go along. So back to this question. Yeah, it fits intellectually on paper. He's all the right things. I checked it out. But I don't have feelings. I don't feel that fluffy, that in love feeling. I'm not in love. So for that, I ask a lot of questions, okay? Because that fluffy, lovey feeling is not supposed to be there while dating. Yeah, there's got to be something, some attraction, without question. The Rebbe says you must have hamshachas halev. That means, what does that mean? It means something. Remember I said about a little flame, a little flicker? If you tell me there's 100% nothing there, I don't want to seem 100%, fine, goodbye, it's not for you. If you tell me there's a little flame, a little flicker, a tiny little something is pulling me, or I think about him between dates, there's a whole list of questions I could get you, I could share with you. The things to ask when you're in doubt. So the Rebbe says, this is from the Rebbe, that if everything is clicking, it's good. The foundational core values are there. Everybody's happy, but I don't have strong feelings for him. The Rebbe says, there's a few things we could do about that. The most important one, the easiest one, the one that I highly recommend is to take a break. Because as the saying in English goes, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So you're going to have space, like a week, to feel in that week if you actually miss him, because that is an indicator. If you say, wow, I feel so relieved. Oh, I don't have to think about him, go out with him. It feels good to be freed of him. That will be your answer. If you go, I don't know, he's on my mind every day. There's a little flicker, a little something. The Rebbe says, it's coming from the Rebbe. He says, take a break. Have some space. I'm going to tell you another reason why people run into this doubt, or I don't know if I feel. This is from a Shidduchim. A lot of people are doing a big mistake, a lot of singles, and they're going out very late at night, like sometimes 9 o'clock at night, every night, or every other night. And they're exhausted because the girl works hard all day. And by the time she's finished working, like she washes her face, has a shower, and she's ready for date 8:30. And he just, whatever he did all day, and also it's 8:30 at night, and they're just beginning to talk about life. Like the most important decision in their entire life at 9:30 at night, you know? So I recommend to think twice, to have earlier dates that start like 5:30, 4:30, not 9:30 at night, okay? And if you start way earlier, like half of the way in the day, like 4:30, and you're gonna say to me, but I work, I can't take off work. Yes, you can. If you're gonna be entering the most important decision of your life, your head has to be in the strongest place possible. I find so many Shidduchim falling apart. You're asking what is disturbing Shidduchim today? It's very late dates. That's one of the reasons. They go out 9:30 at night. By 12 o'clock, they're both shot, exhausted. They can't even think. And then she comes home like, oh, I don't know. And her head's spinning from lack of sleep or tiredness. She had a big day. And I go, for the most important decision in your life, you need to be fresh, alive, awake. So I go for earlier dates. That's one of the reasons why you can't even feel. You go, yeah, it sounds good, but you can't even feel if you're exhausted. Okay? And I highly recommend day dates. Take off work. Say, I'm calling in sick. Let that be one of the reasons you call in sick. You get 10 sick days, sick leaves a year. Take off one for your dating, for your future. Okay, another question. I'm not sure where the dating is going because it's like Pariv. It's like not bad and not amazing. I don't know, should I continue? I don't know if I should continue. I have an answer for that. Okay, here it goes. It's called on a scale of 1 to 10. Let me teach you this. And by the way, you could use this for anything in life, anything you encounter. If you're a mother of children, you could use it. If you're husband and wife, no kids, you could use it. If you're in a dorm with your dorm mates, you could use it. Let me tell you what it is. Anytime you need to measure something, it's so easy. I don't know, there's magic about it. It's so easy if you put it on a scale of 1 to 10, and I'll tell you what. Number 5 is nishtehen nishteher. It's neutral, Pariv. Number 5. Okay, I'm going to show you here the chart. Number 5 is average. It's Pariv. 6 is good. It's good. Tell me, what number was the date tonight? As a shotgun, I asked the singles, what number would you give the date tonight? And they'll say, it was a 6, it was good. I teach them the scale. Another date, they come back the next day, I go, did it move? Was there any movement? And they may say 6.5, 6.25. Sometimes they give me 6.75. They don't want to say 7 yet. 7 is very good. I had people come back from dates and go straight to an 8. Wow, it was awesome. I go, okay, let's check out his number. And his number could be a 5 or a 6. He's very precautious. He takes his time. He likes to observe and watch and see where it's going. He's not ready to jump in the water. It's good, but he's not going to say 8. So I have where they're on 2 different spheres throughout the dating. She's still in the 8 and he's crawling up slowly. What I want to see is a little bit of movement. Like, how is the next, like they come back date number 8 or 9 and I go, how was it? What number did you give me? And they go 7.5. And I go, oh, that's good because the last one was 6 or 6.5. Good, we're getting somewhere. Putting a number to something absolutely clears things so clear. It's like black and white. Now I'll tell you how you could use it with your roommates, okay? Here's an example. I get a phone call from my daughter and she says, Ma, can you please come out with me for coffee at 1 o'clock? I need to talk to you. And I go, I got 2 interviews lined up and I have dinner. I was planning to put up at 1 o'clock. Like I start giving you answers, why not? And she goes, oh, I really want to talk to you. I need to share some. I go, okay, tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you that I come out with you for coffee, even for 20 minutes? How important? Because it's actually a 9. I got something really important on my chest and I go, a 9? Mine is like a 7. Okay, you win, I'm coming. And I stop everything, I go with her because she told me it's a 9. You're with your roommates and she says, can you come walk me up the block? I really need to get something from the store. And you go, ooh, I'm so busy. I'm just right in the middle of 10 things. And she goes, oh, I don't want to go alone. It's getting dark. And you go, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is that for you that I come with you? And she goes, gee, it's like an 8. We'd like to save the 10 for emergencies. She'd say, it's like an 8, 7, 8. And you think to yourself, okay, what I have to do, it was just like catching up on some papers and stuff. That's like a 6. It's not that important. Okay, fine. Yours is a 7, 8. I'm coming. Hang on, wait, I'm coming. And you put down your stuff that's a 6 and you go with the 8. It really, really makes a difference in life for everyone to understand where people are really at instead of using 100 words. Anyway, so when you're coming back from a date, you could tell your mother, Ma, tonight was a 7.5. Yesterday was a 7. You could actually use this as a measuring. Okay, let's move on. How can I recognize red flags? People ask me that all the time. How do I know what's a red flag, what to look out for, what's obvious or what's not obvious? How about if I don't see any red flags? Is that possible? What should I look out for? So one of the ways that we could avoid going out with someone that is going to have big red flags shining in your face is, and avoiding emotional drainage, wasting emotional energy, dating with the wrong people, is by calling non-references. Okay, every profile has references on it, like 3 or 4 people that know you best. I say, I'm married of 13 children, call people that are not on the reference. How do you get them? So you start with one reference that you think you're familiar. The mother looks and says, oh, I think I know Mrs. Schwartz from Chicago. I think I know who she is. Try to find someone you're a little bit familiar with. Then you call them and you talk to them about their son or whatever. While you're talking to them, and that's another story, what do you ask? And how do you get real answers? I'll take that in a minute. While you're talking, you say, who else do you think, because you know them well, Who else do you think knows Chani very well? Who else? Give me some ideas of other people. And you fetch from them, you squeeze out of them, you ask them for other names. Get names that are not on the profile. That's one of the ways of checking into people if they're going to be suitable for you. Now, back to how do you know if they're telling the truth? In my website, which I'll give you at the end, you can write it down if you want, topidatingcoach.com. In that website, there's a page under dating articles. There's many things in there. There's videos, there's articles, there's everything to do dating. In the dating articles section, there's a paper that says 40 questions to research, to inquire about a single. Those questions are called open-ended questions. They're not yes, no answer kind of questions. So when you figure out what your 5 things are, which we're going to go through soon, I hope, in a few minutes, we're going to try to do that we're going to do that exercise of the 5 most important things. I'm going to do a mini one with you in a minute. Once you know what your 5 things are, you go to those 40 questions and you highlight the questions that pertain to your 5. Then you give it to your mother if she's the one that does the research. Ma, these are the 10 questions you need to ask. You don't need her to ask all 40. A lot of them are not shaykh. They're nothing to do with your list. So you highlight the ones that have to do with you and what you need. And then she asks those questions on the research. All of them are open-ended questions that ask for the person to explain a lot of ways, in different ways, the answer. For example, let's say chesed. Let's say you wrote kind. He must be kind-hearted. So one of the questions will say, since you know Moshe Cohen very well, you're on his profile, can you tell me an example, a situation where he went out of his way for another person? Tell me something. So the person has to think. If they can't come up with anything, first of all, they don't belong on his list. And second of all, that's bad news. You can't come up with one thing. So they will explain to this, oh my gosh, he is the kind of guy that if there's a room of 10 people and someone's calling, he's the first one to run. Like you'll hear a lot of words, not, yeah, he's kind. Yes, no, he's not. They're open-ended questions which make people explain what they mean. So that's a very good reference. If you go through all of those in the research, you should be getting a good idea if they qualify or not. They need to qualify your 5. Okay, so the first thing I wrote was non-references, not on the profile. Thorough research before means lots of people, not just 3 people on the reference. Keep asking, you know, when you buy a cell phone, a car, a house, anything, a laptop, you're going to make 100 questions. You're going to ask so many people, so how many gigs should I get on my cell phone? How expensive? What are the choices? What are that? We don't just take whatever. Kal v'chaimer for a partner, we need to ask 100 questions, thorough research. Those that chas v'shalom end up in divorce soon after they're married, they never ever did the research. Most of them, they fell in love and it all fell apart. In love doesn't happen in the beginning. In love doesn't exist. In love happens after you're married and you look after each other and you nurture each other and you listen to each other and you care for each other. You build it. Why are newborn babies so delicious that you can't separate a mother and a newborn? It's just a little doll. How's the mother so connected and so in love with that newborn baby? Because she gives her whole life to that baby. She nurses, she feeds, it's helpless, and she does everything's about the baby, and she connects. When you care for something, when you look after something, you connect so much. You ever did friendship circle and you start connecting and giving to those kids, and then you become so close to them because you've given. You go to nursing homes and you're feeding patients or whatever. The more you give, the more you connect. All of that is real love. That happens after you're married. What happens before is the potential. the potential to be that person that you could love, that you could have love with. But that whole in love thing ain't gonna happen before. And if it does, you're on the wrong plane. It's sorry, back up and go home and do some homework. When your 5 deal breakers match up, when the core values, the foundational, most important qualities you need for a shidduch, for a partner, when they match up, that's the potential to be able to build the love later. Let's figure out how we get those 5 in a minute. Let's continue. So I said, how do you make sure the red flags? Ask open-ended questions. Check in with your 5 deal breakers. These 5, the 5 secrets, the 5 most important things, you check in on them. Every time you're dating, you go back to your paper of 5 and you go, does he qualify? Does he have this? Does he have that? Does he have? And if he doesn't, if he has 3, you keep dating until you find out he has all 5. If he doesn't, goodbye, Charlie, it's not for me. Someone else, he's not for me. He doesn't have all 5. I see that one area, very schwach, not for me. So once you know what your 5 things are and you go for it, after every single date, you check in on your list and you see, does he qualify? Once he qualifies, then you could go out and on a picnic on a Sunday afternoon and see how you click as friends and people, human beings getting along with each other, if there's potential, if if it's fun to be with him, if it's nice, if you anticipate, if you can't wait for tomorrow to tell him something. There are many little signs that I could teach you along the way, how you know that you're on the right path with the right person. The most important thing is to lay the cement, the foundation, to make it strong, to know what your 5 things are and go for it. Once you have that, while that's happening and you're checking him out, you'll know if there's a little bit of hamshachas, even a little bit. You're okay, you're doing good. Let's continue. Another issue, another question that people have is, I'm not sure what I need. I'm not sure what I want. I just want generally a good person, finish. That's all I know. I'm not very detail oriented. It's hard for me to pinpoint, how do I make up 5? I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to want. That's another typical question people have. That's why it's important for you, if you're not sure what you want, to hire a dating coach that will dig deep into your brain and challenge you and ask you a lot of questions. This dating coach knows his experience, is doing this all day with other people, and they will be able to help bring it all out on the table and say, okay, so what you're really saying, and help you create your list. How are we going so far, Monsieur? We okay? Yeah, thank you. Okay, just want to make sure. I don't want to repeat it all again. Okay, let's continue. Do I, as a single, get involved with all the names that are being suggested to my mother? Is it good or is it bad? My answer to that is stay out of it as much as you can. Say, Ma, don't tell me anything till you have filtered the applications, the profiles, till you filtered and you think it's a possible candidate and you're good with it. You did all the research. You checked that, you know what my 5 things are. That's why it's so important to do the 5. You give it to your mother or your aunt or whoever's doing the research for you, and they know what to ask. They come back to you and they say, yep, this guy matches up 100%. Then they could share the profile and this is very important. If you could do this, whoa. Ask your mother not to show you the picture until after she explains you the whole profile. Let her read you the profile. Let her cover up the picture and say, okay, let me describe what I found out about this boy. Let her give you a full 100% description before the picture, because your brain is vulnerable. It's empty right now in that spot. And if it gets to see the picture first, we're all human beings, Yitzhar is very big, and may just jump to a quick conclusion. No, not for me, not my type. Not what I'm looking for. Don't tell me about him. This is not what I'm looking for. That is so bad. That is one of the biggest things turning off Shidduchim today. So I highly recommend to ask your mother to describe the boy first, so you could plant all the seeds of what's positive about the guy. So at least when it comes time to see the picture, if you really need to, in my days, nobody saw a picture, nobody saw anything. And all the women of my generation say, and if we would have seen a picture, would we have married our husbands? So it's been ruining things a lot. I highly recommend if you could have iskafia, not see the picture at all, or at least at the end, it will do you a lot of good work, a lot of good. Okay, do I get involved? The Rebbe says no. The Rebbe says do not, it's not healthy. Only get the name, the possible suggest after it's been filtered. Okay, I'll continue. Is it okay to text during dating? The answer from my experience and my point of view and what I really believe so strongly because I've seen it is no texting during dating or engagement at all, ever, as if it wasn't invented. I've seen broken engagements where the girl said, I waited all day for him to text me what a wonderful date it was last night. I believe he's breaking up. It's going to be the end, man. She was depressed and angry. She comes in without makeup the next day. And he says, what's the problem? Why are you so upset? And she goes, because you didn't text me. And he goes, oh, my phone, I left it, whatever. It has absolutely damaged the communication, and misinterpretations have damaged Shidduchim to the point of broken engagements. Do not text while you're dating. If you have something to say, pick up the phone. You know, you have a telephone or a cell phone, pick it up, dial the number and say, hi, Chaim, I just wanted to tell you something really important. I moved from here to there. You know, the phone calls or that communication, anything you wanted to say on text should be only information, delivery of information, not feelings and stuff. That we do in person. No texting. Okay. These are, okay, here. I've unfortunately seen many engagements broken off. Okay, those are my explanations, what I just told you. Next. What's the most important thing to know for the first date? You haven't dated. What do I need to put into my head to know for that first date? What's the most important thing to prepare for that first date? What you need is one thing only. Exactly to know exactly what you want and how you're going to go about asking for it. When you want to travel, let's say from Crown Heights to New Jersey in a car, you're going to put into the GPS the exact destination, and it's going to give you the exact turns and the corners and the route, the quickest route. And, it takes you straight there eventually, but you got to put in the destination. You got to know exactly where you want to go. If people go into dating not knowing where they want to go, what they need, what they want, like, I'll go, I'll see. How many times a young person says to me, Mrs. Leader, set me up on a date with this girl, Chani, whatever. I go, do you know anything? No, I heard she's a good girl. I'll find out when I'm there. If I say, you don't go into dating playing it by ear. You got to have a plan. You got to know what you need, what you want. You got to go for the detail. Don't just say, I'll play it by ear and feel. What he's doing is the backwards way. I'll feel if we get along, and then we'll talk about the values. Doomed for disaster. Okay, I'm going to ask whoever is still left in the classroom. Monsieur, can you give me a little feel of how we're going with the time? Because I want to do an exercise for a minute. Can you give, we're starting the 5 deal breakers now. Can you give me a bit of feedback?
Yes, we're all still here. We're all still listening, and we are ready for the 5.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Can I ask everyone to don't fall asleep. Please don't fall asleep. But just close your eyes for 60 seconds. Literally 60 seconds. When I say go, Just close your eyes very lightly, not tight. And why I ask you to close your eyes is because I'm going to talk to you for 60 seconds, say something to you that I need you to concentrate. And after 60 seconds, I'll say, open your eyes and write down what you just thought. And I want you to write down the first thing that came to your mind. Are we ready? Okay. Can you close your eyes? And the 60 seconds will begin now. Imagine if Hashem comes to you, Rivki, I don't know who you are, but I'll just say Rivki, and says, Rivki, you can have the greatest value ever for a husband, the most important quality, the most important midah, something that will make you secure and safe for the rest of your life if you have this one gift, this one quality, this one value. What would you choose, Rivki? What would you choose that one value to be if you can get one only? And all the rest cannot be guaranteed. But one you get as a gift from Hashem. Your husband will have this one gift. He will be this one thing. He will have this one midah. What would you choose it to be if, hypothetically, you were given this gift? You have a list of 10 amazing things you want to have, or 5 amazing things you want for a husband. What is the number one? If I can't have anything else, what would I want to have? Now you can open your eyes. Could you write down for a minute? No one's going to look at it. Just write down what that thing was that came to your mind first. After that, this is for your sake, if you want to remember it. After the first thing that came to your mind, probably another 1 or 2 or 3 things came to your mind. Can you also write down those few things, okay? But the one that came first, circle it. Okay? When I do a coaching session, an interview coaching with the girl, with the single, I always say to them at the very, very beginning of the coaching, I say, close your eyes, and I do this with them. Then I say to them, what is that one thing you need or want more than anything else? And by the way, I forgot to say, I'm so sorry, nothing to do with Yiddishkeit. Yiddishkeit is like another number that we deal with separately on the side. There's so much in Yiddishkeit, that's a separate chapter. What I meant, and you could still change it if you have to, what I meant is his personality, his character, his midas. What do you need most, more than anything else? Okay? So nothing to do with Yiddishkeit like Yerushalayim or Chassidus, nothing to do with that. That's not what I meant. As a person, as a human being, as a father of your children, as the husband that you want to, like he walks in the door and he is what? Okay? I say to everyone, I need to know what your number one is, why, and I make a note of it. From the 260 people I interview, I know everyone's number one. When I try to match up people, I want to see that you're both looking for similar or complementary top priority, that one thing, whatever that one thing is for you. There are many choices to choose from, like kindness, responsibility, emotionally stable, smart, intellectually stimulated. There's 100 different choices. When you go into my website, you'll see a zillion articles, all these things. Everything I'm talking about today is in the website. So you'll see what to do with that and how important that is. Now let's move on. I asked you, what's the first thing that came to your mind? Now we're going to do the 5 deal breakers, okay? You ready? So when I go to seminary and I give a talk face-to-face, I say to the girls, write down 30 things you want from a husband. And then I say, now take off 10. Now take off another 10. And and they're screaming, no, I must have one. And we end up with the 5 that you absolutely couldn't touch. There's no way you could take that away. These are your 5 deal breakers. So reduce your list of requirements to the core fundamental values that are absolute. I call them absolutes that you must have. And throughout my 2-hour coaching, I say, will you not date him if he doesn't have that? Are you still going to date him if he is not organized or not clean? Can I recommend someone for you to date if he's not responsible? Like, I'll keep challenging you and asking you, so you know in your brain, in your head, yeah, I cannot live with someone that's not responsible. Sorry, he must be financially stable. I don't want someone that wakes up 10 o'clock and says, I don't know what I'm doing today. And he's not capable of, he may be kind and normal and honest, but he's not responsible, maybe. So we dig until we get to know what's really important to you. Before and after each date, check this list of 5, using it as a point of reference. Share it with your mother, with the shadchan, whoever's doing the research for you. Okay, this list is called gold, your 5, okay? Why is it gold? Because I want you to print it out, hang it up in your wardrobe when you're married, and every time when there's a little something, imperfection that comes up, your husband does this or that annoys you, you go into your wardrobe, read the list of 5, and you go, whoa, you know what? He has the 5 most important things that I need in life. I could let that go. And it just totally puts everything back into perspective. You won't be upset anymore. This will keep the shalom bais because you're taking him. You're saying yes to him. You're marrying this guy because he's got the 5 most important things. That 5 is gold. It'll hold you out for your entire life. You'll fall back on the 5. Whenever something goes a little bit, whatever, you go, it's okay because he's got the 5 most important things. Okay, your core values that attracted you to him in the first place. And you'll put things back into perspective. Keep it forever. It's gold. Okay, next. I'm going to ask you, if you could think for 1 minute of an example, this is a little tip to help you figure out what is important to you. What can be my 5? Here's a little tip. Can you tell me an example? I know you can't tell me, but think of one in your head where you saw a shalom bayis that was not very pleasant. Let's say you went to somebody's house for a Shabbos meal and you're eating nicely with other guests, and the way the husband is talking to the wife or about the wife was not very nice. Can you think of one example in your life, in your 18 years of life, where you saw a husband and wife not being really kind or nice or respectful to each other? Maybe she was making fun of him, he was putting her down in public, something. Can you think of one example in your head? Now, when you come up with that one example, think to yourself, tell yourself, what about it bothered you? Usually the answer I would get is, he wasn't respectful, he put her down, he treated her like a piece of dirt, like one of the kids in the family. He wasn't really listening. There was no communication. What I say to my singles when I have this conversation, I say, those things that you're telling me bothered you is what you want on your list. So let's go back to your list and let's look, do we have respect in there? Do we have good communication skills in there? Do we have in sync with each other, like we're both on the same team, like team player? Do we have these advantages, these milas going on or not? Then I'll tell you another scenario where you picture in your head a very beautiful shalom bayis, something so beautiful. You pointed your finger, it could be an old couple. You go, wow, I love the shalom bayis, the way they talk to each other, the way they treat each other. You could feel the love in the air. I want you to tell me what got you there. You said, that's what I want for my shalom bayis. What got you there? What impacted you? What impressed you? And that is an answer of something you want on your list. Again, the respect, the love, the care, the nurturing that one had for the other. Caring. They were in sync. You know what in sync is? Like they really get each other. They feel where the other one is at. And it's about the other. It's not, what are you doing for me? It's about, what can I do for you? Okay, that's the shalom bayis examples. That's a little tip how to get to form your list. Selecting the right profile references. I've had situations where the references were a rat. What's a rat? Like somebody put a few names they thought on the profile. They said, oh, I'll just put this name, that name, and the head counselor that I worked with. They didn't realize that if they're not very close connected to them, the reference on their profile, they may not advocate for you, and they may start pouring out stuff that's not necessary to hear. And I've seen Shidduchim being turned away. Everyone saying, no, 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 no. And I said, find out if there's a rat in your profile. I need people to call those references and see what they're saying about you. Turns out that they were saying things that were not nice. Make sure that your references are top advocates for you, people that really care about you. Okay? Next, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Take time out to look polished, clean, and presentable for your first date. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. It makes a huge difference to dress up on your phone. Be rested up. Take off work a little bit earlier so you could rest. Okay? You must be fully awake and strong for this important thing of going out on a date. I've had situations where a girl will say to me on a second date, let's say, I can't go out till next week or 2 weeks because I have a l'chaim this night, a wedding that night, and my friend is coming from out of town that night. I go, where are your priorities? We're talking about the most important investment in your life, the partner, the person you may get married to, and your friend or her l'chaim or that wedding is way more important? Come on. So get your priorities right. Dating should be treated as a number one. Preparing properly. Okay. Being a good reference. How to be a good reference. How to be a good reference. To pick, you're going to get phone calls from people because you'll probably be on someone's reference. You're going to get a phone call saying, so what can you tell me about Chani? And let's say you have some issues with Chani and you don't know if you're supposed to say it or not. My recommendation is like Aaron or Cohen, if he could do it, why can't we? He found the good in everyone. Only focus on the good. If there's bad that needs to be said, let them find out by the fourth date, the person you need to say anything that's important, health-wise, psychological-wise, emotionally-wise, anything that's really important, you, whoever's dating, has to tell it by the fourth date. The Rebbe said, by the fourth date, you should share any secrets or stuff that's private that needs to be shared. But the reference is not obligated or responsible to say any bad stuff or questionable stuff. No, do not say one thing that is maybe a question mark that leaves the other person feel like, all right, forget him, forget her. You need to advocate for your friend if you're on their profile and say the most and the best you can from them. Bring out the best and make them shine. If Aaron and Karen could do it, we could do it too. Okay, the date. I said to start out early, I told you about that. Was there another question? Because it'll pop up on my screen as, you're welcome to write the questions and I could read it on my screen. It pops up as I'm speaking, okay? If you have any questions.
Yeah, Mrs. Leader, sorry, okay. Hi. I WhatsApped you a couple questions that girls are sending me. So,
can you say it because I can't see it right now because I closed my phone. So
oh, sure.
Only
would you rather if I...
Go ahead, read, say it.
Oh, okay. So somebody asked, once you marry someone, it's actually, there's two questions and they're a little bit similar. Once you marry somebody, then if they don't have the 5 non-negotiables, either because maybe it's because they changed, or maybe it's because they, people change. So how do you, sometimes it's not your goal. Some people change. People, things could, and then also someone else asked, if somebody doesn't have the 5 non-negotiables, once you're married, what does it help to have 5 non-negotiables?
what the question is let's say you're dating and it's positively all there. You get it. You get the 5 non-negotiables, your 5 deal breakers are there. He qualifies 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay, we can get married. We get along. He has the 5. And 6 months down the track, it goes out the window. All of a sudden, he's not running to Shul to Minyan. All of a sudden, he's not showing up the goods of all those promises. Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay. What we need to do is the most important thing, more than anything, is to have somebody, a mashpia, to talk to and review where could things have slided? What could it be? What could have gone off course? Because be'etzem, I believed, and we both believe that we're on the same page and we're getting what we asked for. And it's just a bit slippery now. Like we're both letting go a little bit of this and that. He's going down, I'm getting upset, and then maybe I'm going down, he's upset. Whatever, we're clashing. Things are not working out. That's why it's more important than anything to have somebody, one more person in the world, whether it's a dating coach, whether it's a mashpia, whether it's someone that's experienced, even a therapist, to review what could have caused something to slip and to get back on track. What you need to do, and I tell this to every one of my children, again, it's my own personal, it's not a rule, it's my own personal view on life, is I tell them when they start dating, you go out for 100 times. I am the opposite of what most people out there are doing. Come on, if it's working, let's go, yalla. You already dated for 3-4 weeks, it's time. Not me. I really advocate for 100 dates. Nobody makes it to 100, I promise you. But the feeling to know that you're able to go out for 100 dates and you decided I need 100 dates, meaning to be positive and sure that this is the most important investment in my life. I need to be certain that this guy is for me. So I could go out as long as I need. The more you go out with someone, the more you review those 5 deal breakers, the more you both come to realize if you're in sync with each other, if you're both on the same page, and building that foundation together. Yes, the intentions are there. Yes, you both decided that. Now it's time to move. It's going to have a lot of testing, challenges for sure. It's not smooth sailing. Okay, I got it. I bought it. I put on the shelf and now I have it for life. Life comes with challenges. Just make sure you have a mashpia or a dating coach or someone you could move and ask questions to and come back on course, because you both put the foundations down. You dated for a long time. Usually when I give them 100 dates, it takes 10 or 20. It doesn't, but nobody wants pressure. Like, come on, it's 5 dates. You got to give me an answer. Anyway, you popped up a question there, but it disappeared. So you want to tell it to me?
Yeah, no problem. We have a few that came in over the course of answering this question.
Let's go.
So, okay. What if a person has 4 out of the 5 and you still think they're suitable? Is that still okay?
100%. I'll tell you why. Because this concept of 5 deal breakers is not written in the Torah anywhere. I made it up. And I made it up. I must tell you, I must share with you. I interviewed this lawyer. He kept me an extra hour. He paid me double. He kept me an extra hour because he wanted 6. And I said, you can't have 6. You can only have 5. And he's into it. You know, it's 3 hours right now. He goes, but Mrs. Leader, I can't let go of some. What am I giving up? I can't give that up. I need all 6. I said, listen, at the end of the day, when you hang up the phone, you could do whatever you like. I'm not following you in your life. You could get 10 if you want. Go for it. I don't care. The whole purpose of doing the 5 is an exercise for us to realize that we can't get everything, but we can get the most important. So if somebody says, I've got 3 most important things and I'm happy with that, gesund to hate, fly with it. There's no rules. It's the idea to know you can't get a lot. You can't get it all. He can't be this, that, and that, and that. You can't. No such thing as perfection. Get it?
Thank you. Another question a girl asked is, what if somebody, if someone calls you for as a reference and they ask something very specific about something negative. It's very specific. They know they have something very specific that they're targeting. Do you have to answer truthfully? Are you allowed to avoid it? How do you manage that?
100% do not be the messenger of bad news. Ever. Ever. Like I said earlier, by the fourth date, you must, according to the Rebbe, you must expose and share anything of very important information, whether it's a sickness, an illness, a disease, or whatever, something, anything that's important. Don't go into an engagement without mentioning it, because I've seen engagements break up because they didn't share. And then as they're just came back from the engagement or getting ready for marriage, oh, by the way, I didn't mention that I have this, or my mother is this, or my whatever. And broken engagements because they didn't share. It's up to the boy and girl, the single, to share with each other, not you as a messenger to deliver the goods, ever. Only focus on the good.
Okay, thank you. One last question that's here for now, and if more come up, I'll let you know. Do the 5 things have to include, are the 5 things more personality and midas, or do they also include Yiddishkeit things? Is that part of the 5, or is that separate?
So 1 is the most important one. Number 1 is the most important one, the one I did the exercise. Number 2, 3, and 4 are all equal. That's 3 major priorities, like what it takes about 20 minutes to figure out each of those 3. And number 5 is Yiddishkeit. So I spend 1 whole number on their Yiddishkeit level. And I have a list of 10 or 20 questions to ask. Like, does he have to have a full beard? Do you want any secular influence in your home? Like, there's a long range of questions to ask until they come up with all the answers. Everyone says, I never thought about these things. I never realized that these are important things. And once I have it all down on paper, and they have to write it over and send it to me, and it goes into my WhatsApp, I then have all that information to follow. Those are their 5, and then now I can find someone to match up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Someone asks, isn't the fourth date too late to know about any illnesses? It's too late to start talking about that.
I'm following the Rebbe. Look it up in Eternal Joy. The Rebbe says by the 3rd or 4th date, it's one of the 2, to share. You know why? Because you've invested with the other person about everything that's super important in life. By then, it's at least 20 hours of getting to know and connect with the person. And when they have whatever it is, it's like, big deal, it's fine, I could live with that, because you're so amazing. The Rebbe is smart. Can I tell you a story? The person I know that I was doing a shidduch for, and she wears hearing aids. Nobody knows. Nobody in the world knows about it because it's hidden. And she said, how am I going to get married? And how am I going to tell him? I'm so nervous. She never wanted to go out on a date because she was so afraid the time will come, she'll tell him, and then he'll say, oh my gosh, and then leave her. So she goes out on the first date, and no one says anything, ever. He doesn't know. The 4th date, I, as a shotgun setter, it's time to tell. You have to, can't surprise him. Because at night, when she takes out hearing aids, she said to me, she explained to me, it's hard to hear. And so he needs to know this. She comes back from the 4th date. Everyone was nervous. Oh my gosh, like, oh, is she gonna make it through this? This is what happens. In the middle of the date, she says to him, you know how the Rebbe says, at the 4th date, you're supposed to share what's, something serious or important. So I need to tell you, it doesn't affect my life. It's like, you know how you wear glasses, to see, because he was wearing glasses, and you take them off at night and you can't see so well, sometimes you go like this. Well, I have something to help me hear, and it's inside, you can't even tell, you see, you wouldn't know. And it just helps me hear. And at night I take it out, so I just needed to share that with you. And he goes, yeah, so, and she goes, aren't you going to say something? And he says, what's the big deal? Yeah. So as we were saying, when should we continue? And he continues talking about something else. She goes, is that okay? What do you mean? What's the big deal? Like, what's the problem? And that was the end of the conversation. Of course, they got married. She came back to her mother and she was so relieved. She goes, it didn't matter. It didn't make a difference. He had nothing to say about it. Like he said, so what? And we were talking about everything else. First of all, I want you to know something, girls. When it's the right one, nothing matters. Nothing matters. The pimple on his nose won't matter. I have girls coming back and saying, I don't like the shape of his teeth. It really bothers me. He's a nice guy, but the teeth, and it's a bit broken and a bit black or whatever. And I go, listen, you know, if that bothers you enough and it's 100% you can't look at his face, then it's not your beshert. Meaning, if his teeth doesn't bother you, when it's your beshert, nothing will matter. Whether it's hearing aids, whether it's broken teeth, whether it's black teeth. When it's your beshert, nothing will bother you. Nothing will matter. Go ahead.
So someone asks, I know someone that married someone that did not have the top 5 values that she listed, and they are very happy. What your priorities are change and shift. If you're closed-minded about what you want, you might not be open to find your husband.
Why is that called closed-minded? Why isn't it called prepared? Why is she calling it closed-minded? Let's talk about these values, okay? I have a list of about 200 values that I've collected from everybody, and I'll grab it for you to show you. These are the choices that mostly everybody chooses. Let me grab it. It's right here. This is my notebook for the girls. It's an orange one. The boys have a green one. When I interview them, I write everything as I speak. I've gathered all the values that people are looking for that's important. Over 260 people want the following things, okay? Just to give you an example how not closed-minded it is, okay? We're not talking closed-minded here. This is actually called prepared, okay? Mentally and emotionally stable, healthy, because half of the world are not. They're broken, they're negative, they're critical, they see life in a, you know, oh, this, and they're always fetching. You know those people? You have a room full of 100 people, half of them will be positive, upbeat, happy, good vibes, good energy. You want to be around them. They always have a compliment. They always have a good word. They're a pleasure to be around. They're just nice and happy with who they are, what they have. Their love tank is full. They're pouring over with love. They always give you a hug. You know those people? And then you have the other half that are always complaining and fetching and late, and the weather is miserable, the food is bad, the teachers, the temperature, everything they find, they're wearing black glasses. So you have choices in life. You could say, I'm not going to be closed-minded, I'll go out and I'll see. Or you could look and put on your list an emotionally balanced and mentally balanced person, a healthy person, and say, that is important to me. Someone that's normal, healthy, he has simchas achayim, he's a happy person. He's satisfied with who he is and what he has. He's not going around with black glasses. You're allowed to ask for that. Why is that called closed-minded? Here, let me give you an example of what an emotionally and mentally stable person is according to people, 260 people that are interviewed. This is what they call, what they interpret a mentally healthy person. And I don't call that closed-minded. Someone that can express their emotions. I'm going to read you, this is an accumulation of everyone's interpretation. It's not one person, it's everyone's. I put it all into one list. Someone that's self-aware, that sees the beauty in everyday life, that has stimulating intellectual conversation. Someone that's broken or critical or negative can't have deep, meaningful conversations. They're stuck and they're always complaining and fetching, can't even have an intellectual conversation with them. This person that's healthy is raised in a healthy, warm family, peaceful environment. Their relationship with their family is good. They're socially aware. They're put together emotionally. They're a good communicator, a good listener. They're positive-minded. They have insight. They're in control of their emotions. They don't have a temper. They have self-respect. They're a wise decision maker. They're calm. They're laid back. They're independent. These are different interpretations that people call a healthy person emotionally and mentally. I don't see it being closed-minded. This person has resilience and inner strength according to someone. That's what they want. I want someone that's resilient, that can stand up when they get hit. I want someone that's supportive, that's reasonable and flexible, that has good vibes, good energy, that's self-confident, that has good self-esteem, that feels good in his own shoes. You get the gist of it? What's so terrible to ask for a normal, healthy person? Is that closed-minded? Because half of the divorces are people that fall into getting married to someone that's not, that's broken, that never went for therapy, and all of that comes out later. They put on a very good show. They're very good, actors, and they look good and they behave good. And then all that stuff comes out when the dust settles. And you ask all those people that got divorced, I didn't realize he had all these mental issues. Is that closed-minded? Go ahead. You could ask.
Thank you so much. Someone asks, what's the balance between dressing up and being genuine? Also, in general, once you hit the shidduch stage, how does it work with getting all dressed up and acting the stage and looking and being genuine and just doing it naturally?
Are you talking about the time until you go dating, like that space, let's say between 18 and 20? Or are you talking about when you're 20 and now you're on the shidduch stage?
I think it's referring to how people, a lot of times girls make sure to always look put together, look really good when they're walking around, especially, or even more so on a date when you, is it like a show? Or?
Okay, either or. So the answer to that is my first, what I read earlier, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Very important, no matter what, because the world is visual. We can't run away from it, hide it, or fight it. The world is visual. For someone that doesn't know you, they'll go by what they see. If you're dressed like a shlach, even though you're not, but if you're not dressed, put together, and looking good, that's all they can go with. So if you're looking and being in the shidduch scene, it is important to go up a level in your put-togetherness, makeup, make sure, look in the mirror. Do I look good? Do I look presentable? You never know. You never know who's out there. Meaning a mother looking for their son kind of thing. Yeah, you should be on the lookout and look your best.
We don't have any more questions for now, so I guess we can continue.
Or do we wrap up? How would you like to go?
We have 10 more minutes till 12, so I guess maybe some parting words. If anyone wants to send any questions, guys, last chance, okay?
So what I'll do is scroll and see the most important last minute things, yeah? While we're waiting? Okay. Think out of the box, allow yourself to be surprised, to consider. I've seen so many times where people went back to a date, an idea, a suggestion a year ago. You might have dated somebody, said no, and then a year later, consider going back to a previous suggestion. That's that. I told you this already, so that's good. Less is more. Don't speak badly about anyone. We said that already. Let them tell their information. You never know when you're holding back somebody's bashar. The second, always give yourself a second date. I said that already. Listen more than you talk. When you're on a date, don't try to impress by saying stuff or interrupting or saying your opinion or how it looks. Don't worry about how you come across. More important than everything, and if you could practice this, is to listen. Listen more than you talk. Hear him out completely. Show real interest in what he's saying. Don't interrupt to try to prove your point. And repeat back to him what you just heard and understood and acknowledge it. They'll feel respect. Next. I said this before. Dating should be number one, not your friend's l'chaim or wedding or some friend coming from out of town. So that's that. Day dates are super important. So I recommend every other day, like let's say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to date, like skip a day and the next day. Never go one day after another. You could skip 2 days, that's fine. But always include a day date, like by the third date for sure, because you see a whole nother perspective. It's not the evening, no one's tired, and start like 11, 12 o'clock and prepare picnic. And you bring the food. The guy wants to feel like, you know, he's being fed and nurtured and she thought about him. Prepare some sandwiches if it's a day date. Okay, that's what that is. Don't compare notes with your friends. And I went out with that Yossi. Don't go out with him. He was so selfish or whatever. Never do that because you don't know when you're ruining somebody's bashert. And that's, I finished. That's my website. What would you like me to do with this? Should I send it to you, Musya? I'm happy to. And then
Thank you.
what to do with it?
Send what? The
Everything we just read, the whole story, all of this.
Yeah. Sure, you could send it to me. I'll send it to the girls.
Okay. Any last
Great.
questions?
Yes, we have 2 last questions here. One girl asks, should the boy know if it's her first time going out? I'm assuming, yeah. First time going out, and how does a girl emotionally prepare herself? And what do you talk about for the first few minutes? That's like a few questions in one.
Okay. What do you talk about the first few minutes? Be natural. Don't prepare it. Whatever comes out, it comes out. Don't prepare, because unnatural is worse. So there's no such thing as what should we say the first few minutes. Just be yourself. Be organic. Be natural. Just be. As if you're meeting your friend for shopping. Hi, how are you? And whatever comes to your mind, it comes. Be natural. That's number 1. Don't prepare. What was the other one?
Should the boy know it's her first time going out? And how does she?
It's helpful, because if he doesn't know, he'll assume things and think she already knows the protocol. And if it's a first time, it's helpful for him to like ease her into it, like saying, "Oh, this is what we usually do: is we'll pull up with the car, and I'll text you that I'm there, or whatever." It makes it easier if he knows it's the first time. Yeah, it's helpful.
Okay, and how does she emotionally prepare herself? How does a girl prepare herself before a date?
By knowing exactly what she needs, those 5 things. I have in my website, that's why I gave it to you, everything about how to do those 5 things, because we couldn't do it here. If I have another opportunity to work with you, I could do it with the whole class, the whole 5 deal breaker thing, by the way. But, you know, as a whole, if not, go to my website, and if you're prepared, like before you go shopping, you have a list of 5 things you need, and that's how you're going to spend your day. You're going to that store, and you get all those 5 things. You're fully prepared to go for those 5. You'll usually come home with it. If you go saying, "I'm just going to go shopping. I'll see. I'll figure. I'll play it by ear. I'll see what I see, whatever my eyes." No. So be prepared. That's what you know. What your 5 are. That's my answer.
Thank you so much. One last question, very practical. A girl wants to know, we're always told to start working on ourselves now before we get to Shidduchim. What are some very specific practical things we can start working on now, emotionally, intellectually? What does that even mean, to start working on ourselves now? Specifics.
Amazing. It's a lot of practice getting along with the people that you're living with already. I'll give you one tip if you want one good idea. I always recommend in my interviews, in my coaching, to get a hold of the book. You've all heard about it. You always talk about it in these late DMC for Brangans and Seminary. You talk about The 5 Love Languages, you know, that book by Gary Chapman. I always recommend everybody read it, and I do a little bit for 5-10 minutes in my interview on the 5 love languages, and I say to them, I want you to practice now. Get to find out what every single person's love language is that is around you today. So let's say you're in a dorm now and you have 5 people in your room. Discover what each one's love language is. Have a conversation about it and say, what do you feel is your love language? What channel do you need or use that you feel loved or you express your love through? And once you know what each person's love language is, you start giving it to them. And things completely change. That's my biggest tip. To get to know, practice now. Take your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters, the dorm mates, anyone. Get to find out what their love language is and give it to them. You will connect in such a way, in such a level. People take 40 years to find out why their husband never had quality time for them and kept giving them things and saying, my wife is so spoiled, she just doesn't, you know, nothing's good enough. And he doesn't realize her love language is not things. Her love language was quality time. Spend time with me. Take me out for a date. Talk to me. Look at me in my eyes. Ask me how my day was. That's my love language. I don't need a nanny and a new house and a new car and a credit card. I don't need everything. I can live in a hut. I'm fine. I just need you. I need your time. And he says, what? That's what you call love. It's not my love language. My love language is to supply you, to give you stuff. So once they discover that his love language and her love language, and they could give each other. And he says, that's all I have to do is take you out once a week and you'll be happy. I'll do that. Until you need to, this is how you prepare yourself. Figure out how to understand other people and how to see through their eyes. Then once you're married and you read the book with your husband, save yourself 40 years of missing each other's love language, and get to know what turns on the other person, what is love for them. And then you give it to them. Oh my gosh, that's the best gift you can do. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much, Mrs. Leader. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. If you have any other questions, you're welcome to text me, and I could figure out a way to get you the answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.